Welcome to Unpractical. Tune in again. Today, we're going over Radio 101, Level 2. This video is made for the guy in the group that's willing to take their radio knowledge a little bit further. We're going to go over APRS, Rattlegram, and different antenna configurations. We are also going to go over encoding and encrypting and what the difference is between the two. Antennas. There's two types of antennas. There's omnidirectional antennas. Think of it as a big bubble, so when you transmit, it expands and goes in every direction. Directional is, as it says, think of a laser beam and you're sending your signal in one direction. Does not go into any other direction, only one direction. The use case for these are vast. Directional can be used for targeted communications. So as in you're trying to talk to your buddy on a specific mountaintop, you can use directional and point it straight at him and talk to only him. Only the people that are using directional can hear each other because they're pointing at each other. If you're using omni, you can hear everything in all directions. Gain. This is where gain comes into play. Gain, think of it as, like I before said, omni is multi-directional. Think of it like a bubble. Well, gain allows you to actually squish that bubble down a little bit and the sides get longer. So think of it more as the higher the gain, the more directional it can become. So for example, a directional antenna is about 7 to 8, and sometimes in commercial fields, it's about 10 dBs of gain, versus an omni, your little antenna on your walkie-talkie, is about 1 to 2 gain. Antennas are the lifeblood of the radio. Getting a good antenna is crucial to having good signal. If you don't have a good antenna, you won't have good signal. It does not matter what radio you're using. The shittiest radio on the market can operate very good with a really good antenna, most of the time. When it comes to buying your antenna for your radio, I would start recommending longer antennas. Think of it as surface area. The more surface area you have, which the longer the antenna, the better signal you're going to receive and the better signal you're going to transmit. There's something like this, extremely long, but what this will allow you to do is to hang this up in a tree and you're going to get damn good signal. And it's still compactable. You can roll it up. So this is future tuning here. One thing I did not talk about is these rubber ducky antennas, the antennas that come with your radio in the box. So if at all possible, I would highly recommend buying the longer whip antennas. Typically, if you're working with a handheld radio, like a dual band radio, VHF, UHF, get the antennas that are 19 inches because that's the ideal length for those. And they're pretty cheap. They're not that expensive. The reason why these antennas uh, are different than these is because the actual radiating part is coiled around this centerpiece right here all the way up, and it's condensed so you can get in a shorter package. The downside to that is that, like before, the surface area is a lot more crushed together, so you're not going to be able to get better signal. These, just upgrading to a whip antenna improves your signal like at least double. So I would highly recommend getting a whip for your handheld if at all possible. If you want to get a good whip antenna, I would recommend the signal stick antennas because these are made by some family in Oregon, and they do a lot of for the ham community. So definitely check those out. They're not that expensive. It's like 20 bucks. And also the benefit to these, because these are actually made out of piano wire, so you can bend them and they stay uh, still. Like you can roll this on itself. You can store it like this and I've done it. I've left it like this for 2 months and then just undid it, and poof, it stays straight. The length of your antenna is going to determine upon the frequencies that it operates in. This right here, as you can see, the VHF and UHF wavelengths that this operates in, and it's ideal for those. If you don't know the band it's meant for, you can put it on a spectrum analyzer, and you can find out what it's ideal for. But a lot of it's online. You can do the calculations yourself. It's stupid easy. I've never made my own antennas. I've always bought them because it's just way easier. And you're also supporting a lot of the radio community when you go to buy an antenna. APRS. APRS is a packet radio service that allows you to send digital packages through your radio over the air, and it's really convenient. One disclaimer I'm going to say is that you cannot use APRS unless you're a licensed ham. So you have to pass minimum the technician test, which is like really easy, and you gain access. The app literally will not let you use the APRS service unless you type in your call sign and your specific key that they give you when you go to sign up for APRS. So they gatekeep this service. You have to have a ham test. Now, with APRS, you're wondering how it works. So the way it works is it works like a mesh network. There's a bunch of nodes everywhere where people have put up, think of them like repeater. They are repeaters. So repeaters everywhere, on people's houses, on mountaintops, on, towns, anywhere where someone has put one up. And APRS has been around for many, 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 many years. So there's repeaters everywhere. Now, at some of these repeaters, some of the repeaters are just relay repeaters where they take your signal and rebroadcast it like normal. Or two, some repeaters have an iGate. What an iGate is a direct line into the internet. So, for example, I can send a message from my radio with APRS to a mountaintop repeater, and that mountaintop repeater might have an iGate, and it'll just go right into the internet and pop up across the country and do its thing. So that's the convenience of APRS, is the internet connectivity. This is where the SMS service comes into play. What the SMS service is it's a call sign that you can message through APRS. And what they will do is, like I said before, you will go out from your radio to the iGate, go into the internet, and then look for the person called SMS. And it will come up, and their service will text the person that you are telling them to text, and then it will come back through the internet, back up into that repeater, and back to you. So it's this really long-winded way to text people from radio signals to cellular. That's mainly my exclusive use for APRS because it's the only functionally viable option that I've used. I've never messed with the email service. I've never messed with the email service because it didn't seem too practical. Most people don't check their email, so the likelihood of them discovering that you're trying to contact them are pretty dang low. Text message is a lot more convenient and a lot more likely that someone would respond. GPS is another use case for APRS, as in you can take your GPS location and transmit and ping off of a repeater someone else's GPS location. And if you and your buddy, let's say you have 4 friends go with your buddy, and you have 4 friends with you, and you want to find out where each other are located. Well, with APRS, you're able to do that. It almost acts like an ATAC system where I can get your location data every 5 minutes and you can get mine. through APRS. It just pings back and forth. So that is really convenient when you have at least one guy with a ham license and he has APRS. You can set up multiple devices with the same call sign, is what I figured out. And you can call it like call sign 1-1, call sign -2. And then you know that you're, obviously your call sign -1, whatever. And you can ping each other. And that's pretty cool. That way, not everyone in your group needs to have a call sign. You can just have one guy in each group have a call sign or something like that. Now, Rattlegram. What Rattlegram is an app on your phone that allows you to essentially send messages digitally through sound. So the best way to explain that is, let's say my buddy has the exact same configuration on the other end. He will type in a message in his Rattlegram app saying, "Oh, hello," right? And what you will do is, when you're ready, you hold down the transmit button, you put your phone next to the radio, and you hit transmit. And what that will do is, he has his radio on standby, and he will hear that, and his phone will be next to his, and his phone will be listening to the radio. And on your phone, you will see a message appear. That is as basic as you can get with Rattlegram. Now, the cool function that I figured out with Rattlegram is adding a little bit of encryption, even though it's technically not in the rules. I do it anyway. No one's really cared. Now, I would very much be against using these on repeaters unless you get explicit permission from the repeater owner, because some people will get mad that you're clogging up their repeater with just noise. So that's up for you to decide if you want to try that. So like I said before, encrypting is not really in the rules, but I figured out a way where we can use your same cell phone to encrypt your messages. So what you got to do is, you got to go into your Google Play or your Apple Store. I'm not really sure if they have it on Apple, but I know for sure they have it on Android. Any Android phone. You download an app called AES Encryption. And what you can do, it's a very simple app. It doesn't have ads. It's really cool. And you set a key or you set a password. And let's just say you want to set the password as Thunder, right? And you have to be very specific on the password. There has to be caps and numbers and all that. So has to be exact. And you set your message, right? So you say, here's the message, poop, fuck it. And you say encrypt. I encrypt it, and boom, you got yourself an encrypted message. And what you do is, you copy that message like that. You go to your Rattlegram and you send a message, and you paste your message and you transmit it, and your buddy is going to hear that and get your garbled message. What your buddy is then going to do is take your message with the password. The password's already decided between you two. So that could be like a part of a pace plan or anything like that, where you guys have a decided key, like Tuesdays is Thunder, Fridays is Pineapple, or something like that. You set up your own code, and your buddy will take his garbled message and decrypt it, and you will get your message. This is really freaking cool. It's time consuming, but it is awesome. Now, one thing that I don't see anyone talking about is, just because you have encryption does not mean that anyone cannot find you. You are still putting out a signal that they can hear. They may not understand what your message says, but they sure as fuck can hear you broadcasting your signal 40 miles away. They can pick up on that and triangulate you. So understand that encryption is not end all be all. Now, I like encoding. So when I refer to encryption, is you're using a digital means to conceal your message. Encoding in radio is more so using your own language or secret language to communicate a message across. So, for example, if you want to say, "Hey, Frank, I'm coming over," you say, "Frank, Mickey D 47." And no one is going to understand what the fuck you just said. But you and Frank know exactly what you said. So that's called an encoded message. And you can do that. And I figured that's a lot cheaper, a lot easier than dealing with encryption. I'm just showing the two uh, ways you can do it. Now, I'd recommend for those of you that are watching this video and you're that guy that's one that takes it to another level, is make your own pace plan. And if I get enough messages on this video, I will make a video on creating a pace plan, which is a primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency plan for your comms. And that is a great way to standardize it across you and your crew. And no one is questioning, oh, how does this work? How does that work? So that about wraps up level 2 of Radio 101. Level 3, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go with level 3. I'm not exactly that much farther along than this level 2 stage. So level 3 is probably going to be pushed out quite a bit because I really want to add in HF communication and stuff like that. HF is going to be a little bit more complicated, mainly because I have less experience working with HF. I've never actually done it yet. So I want to get the experience and then I can talk on it and have some sort of authority on the topic. So definitely HF is going to be in level 3, and you probably already going to be getting your general license at that point. And yeah, it's going to be a bit before we see level 3. So if you like and enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. And we will see you at level 3 someday.